The sky over New York turned dark at noon. People looked up, confused. The sun was still shining above the clouds, but something huge blocked it. A massive alien ship hovered silently in the sky. No noise, no flashing lights, just silence. In seconds, the world changed. News channels all over the planet showed the same image. A black, smooth ship as wide as a city, floating above Earth. It didn't attack. It didn't move. It just watched. Governments panicked. Military jets flew up, but the ship didn't react. No missiles were launched. No shields appeared. Still, the silence continued. Then, a message appeared in every language on every screen. We come in peace. We want to study you. Some believed them. Many didn't. The United Nations met the same night. They chose one person to represent humanity, Captain Raina Cole, a brave astronaut and former soldier. She had seen war. She had seen space. And most importantly, she didn't scare easily. Raina stood tall as she walked toward the glowing beam from the ship. Reporters screamed her name. Her mother cried in the crowd. Raina just smiled and looked up. "Tell them we're not afraid," she said. A second later, the beam pulled her up and she disappeared into the sky. Inside the ship, the air felt strange. Lighter, colder. The walls glowed softly. There were no guards, no weapons, only light. Raina was greeted by 3 aliens, tall, thin. Their skin was smooth and gray-blue. Their eyes were black like glass. "Welcome, human," one said. "I am Zeltar. We are the observers." They looked peaceful, calm. Their voices soft, but their eyes. They looked down on her, like she was a child. They walked her through the ship. No doors, just open halls. She saw other humans, floating, in chambers, sleeping or training. The aliens called it study. "We believe your species is interesting," said Zeltar. "You fight a lot. You destroy, but you survive. We want to understand." Raina nodded. She played along. "And what do you offer in return?" she asked. "Knowledge," Zeltar replied. "Guidance, evolution." Raina smiled politely, but something felt wrong. That night, she was taken to a room with soft walls and a bed. There were no windows. A screen lit up. She saw a recording. The aliens were speaking, but they didn't know she could hear. Zeltar. "They think we came in peace. They are simple, soft, emotional," another voice. "Their world is heavy. Gravity slows them. Weak muscles, slow reflexes." Zeltar laughed. "Soon, we'll test them. They'll beg us to fix them. And then, they'll serve us." Raina's face turned cold. She stared at the screen. She wasn't shocked. Not really. She had seen this before. She had heard that voice before. Not from aliens, but from men in power who thought they were gods. She whispered to herself. "You picked the wrong planet." The next day, Raina began the tests. The aliens placed her in a room with no gravity. Machines asked her questions, tested her speed, her brain, her blood. They laughed when she got tired. They called her limited, but Raina wasn't playing to win. She was playing to learn. She saw their technology, how it worked. She listened when they spoke quietly. She studied their bodies. Thin arms, light bones, long fingers. They weren't built for pressure. Earth's gravity would crush them, and suddenly she had a plan. On Earth, people protested. Why hadn't the alien ship left? Why were no humans returning? What were they really doing? News anchors guessed. Governments stayed silent. But in a small lab in Texas, a group of scientists found something strange. The air near the alien ship was slightly thinner. The pressure was different. The ship was changing the environment. Just a little. "They're preparing something," the scientist said. "Something big." Back on the ship, Raina was ready. She met another alien. Smaller, younger, curious. "Why are you helping them?" she asked. He didn't answer. Just looked at his hands. "Do you even know what Earth is really like?" she asked. "Can you even stand on it?" He paused. We've never been, he said. Our bodies can't handle your gravity. Yet. Reyna smiled slowly. Then maybe you should stay away. Late that night, she found a control panel. Simple, but powerful. She whispered into the camera. They think we're weak. Let's show them what gravity can really do. Fade to black. The test begins. The lights in Reyna's room turned on without warning. No alarm. No voice. Just sudden, blinding white light. She sat up slowly. The soft floor under her felt colder today. The air had changed too. Thinner, drier. Her lips felt cracked. A voice echoed from the walls. Robotic, calm, cold. Test 1 begins now. Before Reyna could ask anything, the floor disappeared beneath her. She fell, or at least it felt like falling. Gravity vanished. Her body floated up, spinning slowly in the middle of a giant white chamber. She grabbed nothing because there was nothing to grab. What kind of test is this? She shouted. The same calm voice replied, This is how we train our young. Zero gravity tests physical and mental control. It is basic for our kind. She heard soft laughter in the distance. Not the robotic voice this time. Real voices. Alien observers. Watching. But Reyna didn't panic. She had trained for this. On Earth, astronauts spend months learning how to move in zero gravity. She remembered the training. Slow movement. Careful breathing. Never overreact. Reyna took control of her body and stopped spinning. She floated still, waiting. Calm. Your control is acceptable, said the voice. Next, obstacle course. Walls shifted, machines moved. Spinning rings, sharp poles, and floating drones filled the chamber. Let's begin, she whispered to herself. For the next hour, Reyna moved through the zero-gravity maze. Some obstacles spun fast, others shot air blasts. Some had moving lasers she had to avoid. She got hit twice, once in the arm, once on the leg. Nothing serious, but enough to bruise. And the aliens kept watching, not cheering, not encouraging, just judging. She could feel their eyes. They didn't see her as a person. To them, she was a test subject, a sample, a weaker life form. After the test, Reyna floated back to her room. No bed this time, only a floating circle of light. She sat cross-legged in the air, sweating, tired but quiet, and that's when she noticed something strange. A small red light blinking in the ceiling, hidden at first, but now visible. She floated closer. It was a camera, but next to it, something, more a speaker maybe than a whisper. You're being watched, not just by them. Her eyes widened. Who is this? She asked quietly. No answer. Then, listen. Observe. Don't trust them. The voice disappeared. The light blinked twice, then turned off. Reyna's mind raced. Someone else was in the ship. Someone trying to help, or just playing with her. She remembered the younger alien she had met. Curious, nervous. Maybe him, or maybe there were others here. Other humans, still awake, still resisting. The next day, another test began. This time, they placed Reyna in a high-pressure chamber. Her body felt heavier. Her chest struggled to breathe. Sweat dripped down her face. What is this? She gasped. Simulated gravity, said the voice. Our ship copies different planetary pressures. We are testing your limits. She understood. Now, they weren't just studying her. They were trying to break her. They wanted to see how much pressure a human body could take. But Reyna was stubborn. Her arms trembled, but she stood. Her legs hurt, but she moved forward. Step by step, she crossed the room. Test complete, the voice said, but it sounded disappointed. Later, 2 alien scientists stood behind a glass wall, speaking in their native language. Reyna couldn't understand everything, but she had studied enough alien speech in training. Why hasn't she collapsed yet? Her bones should be breaking. Their kind is not built for this. She's hiding her weakness. Typical human. Send the elite scouts to Earth. Let them test the real gravity. We will see how weak she is when we rule her world. Reyna froze. Elite scouts. Being sent to Earth. No warning, no help, no defense. She had to stop them. That night, back in her room, she waited until the lights dimmed. Then she climbed toward the wall and whispered near the red light, "If you can hear me, listen. They're sending scouts to Earth. You have to warn them. Humans are not ready." Again, silence. But this time, the blinking light turned blue. Sign? Was someone really listening? Hours later, deep in the alien command center, 3 tall warriors stood in metal suits, stronger, smarter, faster than the others. They were ready to land. "Earth's gravity is heavy," one of them said. "But we are trained. We will adapt. We will conquer." They stepped into their ship and flew down to the surface of Earth. On Earth, in a hidden lab, scientists were already picking up strange signals. "More incoming," said a young tech. 3 life forms, not human, entering Earth's atmosphere. An older doctor frowned. "Do we have any data?" "Yes," the tech replied. "They're bigger, heavier than the others, but something's wrong." "What?" "They're slowing down. Their heart rates dropping fast." In a small hospital near the landing site, a nurse screamed. An alien had collapsed right outside their emergency room, body shaking, chest caving, skin pale. The other 2 weren't far behind. Earth's gravity was destroying them. Meanwhile, in the ship above, Reyna smiled to herself in the dark. "Welcome to our world," she whispered. "Let's see how strong you really are." Fade to black. The gravity trap the alien scouts landed quietly. No explosions, no sound. Their ship, shaped like a silver blade, cut through the clouds and settled in a remote forest near the edge of northern Canada. 3 figures stepped out, tall, armored, confident. They were the elite, bred not just to think, but to conquer. They had trained for years in artificial pressure chambers. They had studied human anatomy, languages, history. They had laughed at humanity's mistakes, but nothing had prepared them for the weight of the Earth. Within minutes of stepping out, the air felt different, denser, heavier. One of the scouts, Korth, looked around and scanned the atmosphere. "Oxygen level is acceptable," he said. "Temperature stable," added Velzen, the second. But the third, Ziral, stayed silent. His hand trembled slightly. "What's wrong with your posture?" Velzen asked. Ziral tried to stand straighter. "My chest feels tight, as if the sky is pressing down on me." Korth laughed. "Don't be dramatic. We trained for this. Earth's gravity is not a threat." He was wrong. Hours passed. By nightfall, the 3 had moved only 1 kilometer from the ship. Their pace had slowed. Their breath became shorter. Korth, once proud, now walked with a slight limp. His armor felt heavier with each step. "It must be local radiation," he said, trying to explain the pain in his legs. "The human environment is unstable." But deep down, all 3 knew. Something was wrong with the planet itself. They didn't know the truth. Earth wasn't unstable. It was just strong. In a government lab in Norway, human scientists watched the alien movements from satellite feeds. One of the doctors, Dr. Lena Morris, stared at the data. "Look at their heart rate," she said. "All 3 are slowing. Oxygen is fine. Food is fine, but their bodies are crashing." A young assistant asked, "Why? What's doing it?" Dr. Morris zoomed in on the bio readings. "Their bones. They're too light. Their muscles aren't dense enough. Their entire species evolved in lower gravity. They weren't made for this world." "So Earth is killing them?" "Not on purpose," she said. "But yes. Gravity is crushing them slowly." Meanwhile, in the alien ship above, Reyna Cole was watching. Her room no longer felt like a prison. It was a control center. Thanks to the secret ally who had contacted her before, someone who knew how to unlock systems, Reyna now had access to a small screen. It showed feeds from the alien scouts on Earth. She watched Korth collapse near a frozen river. She watched Velzen cough blood under the weight of his own armor, and then she smiled. They thought humanity was weak. They never imagined the planet itself would be the one to fight back. Later that night, a secret meeting took place inside the alien ship. Xeltar, the same alien who had welcomed Reyna days ago, stood in front of a group of commanders. He was angry. "Why are they failing?" he asked. A scientist replied, "We miscalculated. Earth's gravity is denser than predicted. Prolonged exposure causes collapse in muscle tissue. Even the elite can't function properly." Xeltar slammed the table. "Then increase pressure training. We can't delay the plan." Another voice spoke, this one calm and sharp. "Or, we send more humans up here. Let them rule their own people from above." They all turned. It was a new alien commander, taller than the others, eyes cold. "Humans respect power," he continued. "If we control their strongest, we control their planet." Xeltar nodded slowly. "Prepare the selection process." Reyna didn't sleep that night. The hidden speaker in her room turned on again. "You saw them fall?" the voice asked. "Yes," Reyna replied. "And I need more access. I want to know their plan." A pause. "I will try, but you must move carefully. They're watching everyone." "Who are you?" she asked again. Silence. Then the soft reply. "Someone who once believed they were gods, until I visited your world." The voice cut off. The next morning, the aliens brought Reyna out of her room. This time, no test. No machines. Just a chair, a table, and a glass of blue liquid. Xeltar entered, smiling. "How are you feeling?" he asked. "Sore," she replied. "Your training is intense," he nodded. "And useful. You're stronger now." Reyna narrowed her eyes. "What do you want?" "We are selecting leaders," he said. "Humans we trust. We need help guiding Earth through the changes." "You want puppets?" she said coldly. "We want peace," he smiled. Reyna leaned forward. "Then maybe you should try walking on our soil again." His smile faded. Meanwhile, on Earth, Korth was dying. His body lay motionless under a tree, his armor cracked. Ziral had already passed out. Velzen was the last one standing. Barely. He activated his emergency beacon. Mission failed. Cannot. Continue. Request return. Immediate. Above, in the alien ship, alarms went off. They were losing their best. Reyna heard the sirens. Guards rushed down the hallway. No one paid attention to her. And that's when she moved. She stepped back into her room, opened the small screen, and began typing. She had learned enough. Gravity pressure settings. Communications control. The ship's artificial environment systems. And one button that stood out. Simulate Earth gravity. She paused. "Let's see how you like our world," she whispered, and pressed it. Across the ship, air grew heavier. Walls moaned. Lights flickered. Alien scientists stumbled as their knees buckled. Even Xeltar, walking back to his quarters, fell to one knee. "What is this?" "Increase stabilizers." But Reyna had locked the controls. The ship was now under Earth gravity, and for the first time, the aliens felt what it meant to be human. Fade to black. Reyna's resistance. For 12 seconds, the alien ship groaned like a wounded animal. Lights flickered. Ceiling tiles trembled. Thin glass cracked in the halls, and the aliens, proud, graceful creatures of low gravity, fell to their knees as artificial Earth gravity spread through the corridors. Reyna watched it all happen from her hidden screen. She didn't smile. She didn't cheer. She simply stared. This wasn't revenge. This was proof. Proof that the aliens were never gods. They were guests on a planet that refused to bow. Alarms screamed across the ship. Red lights flashed through every hallway. Scientists staggered. Soldiers slipped. Machines broke down. The emergency systems tried to correct the gravity, but Reyna had locked the override. She had memorized the alien script, stolen access codes, watched their routines, all while pretending to be weak. And now, Weakness was her greatest disguise. In the control tower, Exeltar held onto a rail, barely able to stand. "Who activated gravity protocol?" he shouted. No one answered. A young technician cried out, "Our limbs, they feel like they're filled with stone." Another yelled, "Our hearts can't keep up. We're not built for this pressure." Panic spread. Someone had turned their floating kingdom into a prison, and Zeltar knew exactly who. In her chamber, Reyna shut the terminal. She had done enough for now. They would fix it eventually. They would trace it back. She had maybe hours, maybe less, but in those hours she would plant fear, and fear could last a lifetime. A few corridors away, a door opened quietly. A tall, shadowed figure stepped inside. Reyna tensed, but it wasn't a guard. It was him, the voice from the speaker, the one who warned her. An alien, but not like the others. His posture was weaker, his skin more pale, his eyes softer, tired, maybe ashamed. "My name is Surin," he said, barely above a whisper. "I'm not like them." Reyna narrowed her eyes. "Then why are you here?" He looked away. "Because I believed in the mission. In peace. In sharing knowledge. But Zeltar turned it into domination. And now? Now I want out," he said. "And I think you're the only one who can make that happen." Together they moved quietly through the weakened ship. Surin led Reyna to a hidden maintenance wing. No guards, no cameras. A place even Zeltar didn't care about. Inside, they found a dozen pods. Cryo sleep chambers. Each pod held a human, alive, breathing. Unconscious. Reyna gasped. "They said they were studying us. They were taking us," Surin said. "They plan to replace human leaders with trained copies, or keep them as trophies." Reyna's fists clenched. She saw soldiers, scientists, and even a politician or two. One face she recognized. A missing astronaut declared lost in space 3 years ago. He was right here. "Can we wake them?" Reyna asked. "Not yet. But we can send a signal," Surin said. "We can show the world what they've done." "Then do it," she said. "We burn their lies down." On Earth, Dr. Lena Morris sat in her lab watching live vitals from the dying alien scouts. One had slipped into a coma. Another was blind. The last one cried out, not in pain, but in fear. "They're falling apart," said a soldier beside her. "No," she whispered. "They're unraveling. Their bones aren't just breaking, their minds are too. Earth is rewriting their biology." The soldier stared. "What if more of them come?" Lena looked at him. "Then we better be ready to teach them what living here means." Back on the ship, Zeltar was done waiting. He ordered Reyna's arrest. "Bring her alive or broken," he growled. But the guards couldn't move fast, not with gravity still pressing them down. Reyna and Surin stayed one step ahead. In a stolen lab room, Surin connected the cryopod systems to the ship's main transmitter. Reyna recorded a message, short, simple, honest. "This is Captain Reyna Cole. I was taken by aliens who said they came in peace. They lied. They're keeping your people, copying them, replacing them. They think we're weak. They call us slow. But let me tell you something. Gravity doesn't lie. Our world crushes the proud, and we're not done yet." The message echoed across the world. News stations played it on repeat. Panic, shock, fire in the hearts of billions. Governments awakened. Leaders who had doubted now prepared defenses. Families of the missing gathered in the streets holding candles and pictures. Humanity was no longer afraid. Gultar watched the broadcast in silence. He looked around. His crew was weakened. His scouts on Earth were dying. Even his strongest guards now leaned against walls for support. "She did this," he whispered. "One human," and for the first time, he understood something horrifying. This planet did not make weak creatures. It made survivors. In the cryo chamber, Reyna loaded a plasma tool. "If they're coming for me," she said, "then they better bring an army." Surin looked at her. "What are you planning?" I'm not escaping, she said. I'm starting a war. Collapse of the elite, the alien ship no longer floated like a god in the sky. It groaned, it trembled, it sank, not toward the earth, not physically, but in spirit. Its halls were dim now. Its walls no longer glowed. What once felt like a temple now felt like a hospital, or a tomb. And at the center of it all was Reyna Cole, the human they thought they could break. 3 floors below the command deck, Xeltar stared at a projection screen. Reyna's message was playing again, again, and again. Every human on Earth had seen it now. And worse, so had the rest of the galaxy. We're not done yet, her voice said. 6 words, just 6. But it shattered everything the Empire believed. In the Empire's homeworld, millions of light years away, political chaos exploded. Governors screamed in council chambers. Generals demanded answers. Some wanted war. Others wanted to run. For centuries, the Empire had ruled through fear. But fear doesn't work on a species that lives every day under a force strong enough to crush your bones. Back on Earth, the alien scouts were dying. Korth was already gone. Siral lay in a sealed bunker, breathing, through machines. Only Velzen remained conscious, barely. In a medical room hidden under an American military base, Dr. Lena Morris stood beside him. She watched his body shake. "Why are you doing this?" he asked through clenched teeth. "We're not doing anything," she replied softly. "This is just gravity." He stared at her, eyes wide, fear, not of her, but of the planet itself. Meanwhile, Reyna stood at the center of the cryo chamber, now fully awake and weaponized. 12 pods, 12 stolen humans. She had them monitored, secured, still asleep, but safe. Beside her, Surin checked the ship's internal data systems. His hands trembled. "They've called reinforcements," he said. 3 more battle cruisers, they're on their way." Reyna didn't blink. "How long?" 4 days, he whispered. "Maybe 5. 4 days. That's how long she had left. 4 days to spark rebellion inside the ship. 4 days to prepare Earth. 4 days to turn fear into fire, and she would use every second. She began broadcasting short-range signals, not just to Earth, but to other humans inside the alien ship. Yes, there were others. Security guards, pilots, missing engineers, even children. Most had been locked in stasis or trapped in isolation chambers. But now, her signal reached them. "This is Captain Reyna Cole. You are not alone. This ship is bleeding, and it's time to strike back." Across the ship, the message spread like fire. A human engineer in the lower deck smashed a coolant pipe and vanished into the shadows. A pilot, long thought brainwashed, stole a plasma key. A janitor, an old man from Istanbul, quietly unlocked a prisoner wing. The resistance had begun. Exultar tried to regain control. He stormed into the command center, increase patrols, lock every human chamber, shut down communications. But the ship itself was against him. Its systems were slow. Power cells drained, the artificial gravity still pressed down like a silent fist. Some soldiers collapsed. Others refused to follow orders, and worst of all, some began to question everything. On Earth, military forces united like never before. Rival nations opened their skies. Satellites aligned. Hidden bases came online. The message was simple. If they come, they don't leave. Doctors studied alien biology. Soldiers trained in low-oxygen rooms. Scientists built countermeasures to their technology. For the first time in human history, the world wasn't fighting itself. It was preparing to fight back. Inside the alien ship, Reyna made her next move. With Surin's help, she entered the gravity control chamber, the heart of the ship's pressure system. It was guarded, but weakly. She and Surin took them down using shock pulses, a human tool she had hidden in her boot since the day she was taken. Inside the chamber, she saw it. A glowing orb, spinning, humming, controlling the artificial gravity. She could destroy it or change it. Shuren stared at her. What will you do? She looked at the console. I'll give them a choice, she said. 5 minutes later, every alien on board heard the same message. This is Captain Raina Cole. You have 1 hour. Choose your side. I'm increasing the gravity again. Those who want peace, come find me. The rest, good luck standing up. In the hallways, aliens panicked. Some begged to surrender. Some fought to hold on to control. But all of them felt the weight. Not just physical, not just gravity, but the weight of truth. Humans weren't the ones being tested anymore. They were. Raina walked back through the halls like a ghost, free, calm, unbroken. Behind her, doors opened. Humans stepped out. 1, then 2, then 50. A network of survivors. Once scattered, now united. And at the front of them all was Raina. Not just a survivor now, but a leader. On the alien homeworld, the Emperor himself watched the footage. He had never seen a human up close. But now he saw one woman. Shut down an empire, and he whispered in disbelief. How did they survive such a world? His advisor answered, because their planet taught them one lesson every day. If you want to stand up, you have to earn it. The final showdown above. The Earth. 3 alien warships exited lightspeed. They arrived like shadows pulled across the stars. Silent, massive, impossible. Each ship was larger than a human city. Inside the main vessel, Admiral Koresh stood tall, gazing down at the blue planet below. His eyes held no fear, only frustration. How did one human cause this, he asked. A young officer replied. She exploited a weakness in our design. Koresh turned slowly. She exploited a weakness in our thinking. He raised a hand, and the order was given. Prepare to retake the flagship. Deep inside the original ship, now under partial human control, Raina Cole stood in the gravity core chamber, watching the readings rise. She had increased gravity levels again. Not to break the aliens, but to keep them honest. Every alien, still on board, now had a choice. Adapt or kneel. But something felt wrong. Too quiet. Too calm. Suren entered, breathless. They're here, he said. The reinforcements. 3 battle cruisers. Raina didn't flinch. How long until they dock? 20 minutes, maybe less. She nodded. Get to the cryo-humans, guard them. Keep them offline, but safe. Suren hesitated. What will you do? She grabbed a shock rifle and a gravity override key. I'm going to remind them what planet they're messing with. Meanwhile, the reinforcements began boarding the ship through the upper hatches. Elite commandos, heavier armor, modified lungs, muscle boosters, marched through the metallic corridors. They were trained for combat under pressure. They had studied Raina's movements. They had prepared for her traps. But they hadn't prepared for something else. Resistance. In Sector 7, they were ambushed, not by soldiers, but by engineers, medics, prisoners, humans who had nothing but broken tools and fire in their eyes. One alien fell, then another. A female technician from India threw a pulse grenade that disabled their exosuits. A teenager from Kenya knocked out a guard using a metal oxygen pipe. This wasn't an army. This was rage and unity. Raina reached the docking bay just as the second wave arrived. She saw their armor, their perfect formation, their confidence. And then she did something unexpected. She stepped into the open. No cover, no weapon raised. You don't belong here, she said calmly. A commander stepped forward. You are under arrest. Surrender or be silenced. Raina smirked. You're already losing. You just don't feel it yet. And then, she hit the override key. All across the ship, gravity surged. The settings jumped to 1.8 J, nearly double what they had prepared for. Aliens screamed. Bones cracked. Armor groaned. Even the elite soldiers stumbled, knees slamming the floor, lungs gasping. Only Raina stood, tall because this was her world. Her weight, her rules. In orbit, Admiral Koresh watched from his ship's bridge. They activated the gravity core, his officer said. Our troops are falling apart. Koresh clenched his jaw. Fire on the flagship. What? But Admiral, I said fire. On Earth, Dr. Lena Morris stared at the satellite feed. They're going to destroy the ship, she said. They're willing to kill their own just to silence her. The room went silent. Then the UN general stood. No, he said. Not today. He turned to the command center, launched the counter signal. 5 minutes later, every human, satellite, submarine, aircraft, and military outpost focused on one thing: jamming alien weapons systems. They had cracked the alien signal code from the earlier cryopods. They had learned their language. Now they used it against them. For the first time, the aliens lost targeting control. Missiles refused to lock. Plasma turrets powered down. Admiral Koresh watched his screens go dark. How? He whispered. The officer answered. They've adapted. Back in the docking bay, Reyna faced the last of the elite commandos. One aimed a shaky weapon at her. You think this is victory? He growled. We are eternal. Reyna walked toward him. You're not eternal. You're just not used to losing. She knocked his rifle aside and delivered a punch so hard it dropped him flat, helped, of course, by Earth-style gravity. Later, in the main command chamber, Reyna stood before a live transmission to Earth. Around her, freed humans gathered. Beside her, Seren watched in silence. She looked into the camera, bruised but steady. We were never alone. We were never weak. We were just waiting for the right push. Now we push back. In the alien capital, far away, leaders watched with wide eyes. Should we prepare another fleet? One asked. The Emperor said nothing for a long time. Then finally, no. We prepare for peace, because if we go again, we go to war with the planet itself. When they finally understood, the alien ship floated in silence above Earth, now broken. From the inside, it no longer glowed, no longer hummed. It drifted like a ghost, heavy, slow, and humbled. Inside, most systems were offline. Gravity controls were locked, weapons disabled, but more importantly, for the first time since their arrival, the aliens inside were afraid. Not afraid of weapons, not afraid of war, afraid of understanding. Reyna Cole stood in the command room, bruised but unshaken. The lights flickered above her. Her voice echoed in the silence. Open the channel, she said. Seren stood by the console. To who? She looked up at the star map, showing hundreds of alien colonies. Some had once laughed at humanity. Some still did. To all of them. The message was short. Not loud, not angry, just true. You thought our species was weak, but that's because you never felt our world. We don't grow in comfort. We grow under pressure. We fight gravity from the moment we're born, and we stand anyway. Across the galaxy, alien diplomats, generals and citizens watched in silence. In some corners there was mockery. In others, quiet fear. But in most places, something new appeared. Respect. On Earth, the skies cleared for the first time in weeks. The alien ship, once a threat, now prepared to leave. It would not take humans. It would not return with copies. It would carry one thing only: a warning. Admiral Koresh stood at the bridge of his damaged cruiser. He looked at Earth one last time. We could have ruled them, his second-in-command said quietly. Koresh didn't answer right away, then he turned. No, he said. We couldn't have even survived them. 3 hours later, the alien fleet left orbit, not with fire, not with weapons, but in silence, a silent retreat. In a global broadcast, the world saw Reyna step out of the ship, finally back on Earth. She walked alone at first down a long metallic ramp. Her boots touched soil. Millions watched. Some cried. Others cheered. Cameras zoomed in on her face, not proud, not smiling, just focused. A child in the front row held a small sign. Gravity chose us. Reyna paused, read it, and nodded. In the days that followed, Everything changed. The humans, once taken, were rescued. Cryopods were unlocked. Governments formed new councils to prepare for future contact. But Reyna, she didn't want a title. She didn't want power. She asked for one thing only: a quiet room with a view of the sky. Reporters asked her one question more than any other: how did you defeat them? And each time, she gave the same answer: we didn't have to. We just showed them the weight we live under every day. Across the galaxy, new species studied Earth with caution. They marked it as a level 6 gravity world, the kind that crushes bones, tests lungs, and strengthens hearts. In many alien schools, children were told, don't visit Earth unless you're ready to grow up fast. In time, stories spread, some true, some myth, of a woman who used gravity like a weapon, of a planet that trained warriors just by letting them live, of a species that didn't evolve through dominance, but through resistance. And far away, in an alien lecture hall, a young student asked their teacher, how did the humans win without firing a single missile? The teacher smiled and pointed at a large spinning globe. Because every step they take, he said, is already a battle, and they never stop walking.